Good afternoon. This is News at Noon on the combined service of Gotel AM and FM Yola. My name is Mohammed El Yaqub. Let's begin with the headlines. African Muslim women charged to spread culture of peace and harmony in their communities. Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs charges security agencies on professionalism. FIFA to allow Nigeria bring in musical instruments to marches. First Lady Mrs. Patience Jonathan has enjoined Muslim women in Africa to spread the culture of peace and harmony in their communities as the Ramadan commences. This is contained in a statement signed by Mrs. Ayo Adesuba, the Director of Information Office of the First Lady in Abuja. The statement quoted Jonathan, who is also the President African First Lady's Peace Mission, as saying this in her Ramadan message to the women. Jonathan called on Muslim women to use the period of Ramadan to rededicate themselves to God. Jonathan said there was the need for African women to inculcate tolerance, peace, and humility in their children and wards. She said that these virtues were important values that should be embraced by Muslims and non-Muslims alike. Senate President David Mark has called on Muslims to make the continued survival of Nigeria the focal point of their prayers as they begin the month-long fast. In a goodwill message to the Muslim faithful, Mark urged them to pray for the country to overcome its present challenges. In the message signed by Mr. Paul Mume, his chief press secretary, Mark said more than any time else, the nation requires the support and prayer of faithful to triumph over forces of evil facing the nation. Mark called for the support and cooperation of all with the security operatives to combat the insurgents ravaging the country. He also called for religious tolerance among religious groups, saying that the unity of the country should not be compromised. Professor Ishaq Oloyede, Secretary General, Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, has called on security agencies in the country to be fair and professional in the discharge of their duties. Oloyede gave the advice while delivering a keynote address at the 9th Ramadan Lecture of Muslim Media Practitioners of Nigeria in Abuja. Describing the security situation in the country as serious, the Islamic leader said Muslims in Nigeria were for peace as long as there was justice and fairness. The NSCIA scribes said there cannot be peace without justice and appealed that federal government be just to all segments of the society. Oloyede said in the spirit of the theme of the lecture, peace and leadership, the missing link, there should be more consultation and dialogue among the stakeholders in the country. Speaking on the theme of the lecture, the guest speaker, Professor Musa Abdurrahim, said that for peace to reign, there must be justice. He said the insurgent sect were not representing Islam, as according to him, Muslims are for peace and were also victims of attacks by the insurgents. President Goodluck Jonathan has condemned Friday night's bombing in the Bayangari area of Bauchi State. In a statement issued by his special advisor on media and publicity, Mr. Reuben Abati, Jonathan also condemned the killings in southern part of Kaduna State. He expressed his administration's determination to bring the perpetrators to justice. He commiserated with the families of those killed in the attacks and extended his sympathies to those who were injured or lost their property in the wanton assaults on Bauchi and Kaduna States. National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress APC, Chief John Oyagun, has said the party conceded victory to the PDP in the Ekiti governorship election to prevent the outbreak of violence. Oyagun, who said this in Benin while fielding questions from newsmen, also said that contrary to insinuations, the Ekiti governorship poll was characterized with lots of irregularities. He said that it was in view of these irregularities that the party took the decision to challenge the election result in the court. He said that Nigerians should embrace the APC as the new party with a different agenda to fix Nigeria. Senator Iola Omisore, the People's Democratic Party governorship candidate in Osun, says the PDP will replicate its victory in the June 21 Ekiti governorship election in Osun come August 9. Omisore, who made the declaration in Abuja, said the PDP will take over Osun State through the polls. He He said that the PDP would win Osun governorship election decisively because of the perceptible failures of Governor Rauf Aregbesol's administration in all spheres of government endeavors. He described the administration as having done so little for the people of the state. Omishore reiterated that he was on a rescue mission to bring good governance and pragmatic development to Osun and its citizens. Football governing body FIFA has agreed to allow the Nigeria Football Supporters Club to bring in its musical instruments into the stadium in Brazil, provided there is a backup letter from Nigeria Football Federation (FFF). Rafiu Oladigbo, President General of the club, said at a news conference in Sao Paulo that the club had consequently forwarded a letter to NFF requesting for the letter. Oladigbo said that the letter, which had a condition of reaching FIFA 24 hours ahead of the Nigeria-France second round match on Monday, has paved the way for Nigeria to make use of the instruments in the clash in today's clash with the French. FIFA said it had not officially denied the club the right of singing, drumming and trumpeting during Nigeria's matches, but that the club had never requested officially. FIFA had insinuated that members of the club were likely to use the musical instruments as weapons during Eagles matches, as the instruments were seized at stadium gates but released after each match. Meanwhile, the 2014 FIFA World Cup in Brazil had its first cooling breaks of the competition during the round of 16 match between the Netherlands and Mexico in Fortaleza. It took place in both halves when referee Pedro Bronca signaled a 3-minute timeout as temperatures reached above 32 degrees centigrade inside the stadium. Both set of players rehydrated with drinks, while both coaches took the opportunity to give team talks. The heat forced fans to move to the back of the stadium to get shelter. In Sunday's round of 16 matches, Holland beat Mexico 2-1 to qualify for the quarterfinal, while Costa Rica overcame Greece 5-3 on penalties after full and extra time had ended 1-1. To conclude Gotel News at noon, a quick look at some of the major stories. Nigeria's First Lady Patience Jonathan has enjoined Muslim women in Africa to spread the culture of peace and harmony in their communities as the Ramadan commences. This is contained in a statement signed by Mrs. Ayo Adesuba, the Director of Information Office of the First Lady in Abuja. Professor Ishaq Oloyede, Secretary General, Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, has called on security agencies in the country to be fair and professional in the discharge of their duties. Oloyede gave the advice while delivering a keynote address at the 9th Ramadan lecture of Muslim media practitioners of Nigeria in Abuja. It was also on the news that football's governing body FIFA has agreed to allow the Nigeria Football Supporters Club to bring in its musical instruments into the stadium in Brazil. Rafiu Oladigbo, President General of the club, who disclosed this at a news conference, said that the approval had a condition which required a backup letter provided by the Nigeria Football Federation (NFF). That has been Gotel News at noon.